Good evening and welcome. My name is Olga Chwa, and I'm delighted to welcome you in our Astro Yoga class. We're coming upon a full moon. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe to support this channel. And I'll be guiding a breathing practice for this full moon. The breathing practice that was hinted at in our settling yoga nidra, the practice of following the breath like the fullness of the moon. And we'll practice expanding the breath, making that breath even deeper, getting more access into the lungs, more capacity from the breath. And that begins by finding stillness. That begins by getting comfy and comfortable. So again, all the fussing, all the little details are welcome. Where does the left arm wish to be? Where does the right arm wish to be? I'm giving them those exact places to be. In the right leg and the left leg. Adjusting any flesh or any clothing or any hair, anything that can be adjusted, tending to the things that can be adjusted. Everything is comfortable. In the breathing practices, the best measure of change is a before and an after. And so we begin our breathing practice with watching the natural breath and developing this capacity of witnessing. And for some folks, this is a lifelong practice to master the ability to really just watch the breath, to be there on the sidelines, noticing and observing, but not controlling, not engaging. So that's the invitation for the next minute or minute and a half to get comfortable in the body and to just hang out watching the breath. Just curious, what if this was the first time you noticed your breath ever? What would you notice about the breath? This particular inhale here, and this particular exhale. Just really allowing the body to come into its naturalness, into its state of breath like it does when you're sleeping and paying no attention or engaged in work of some kind. The breath just does its thing. Taking a moment to notice the proportions, just curiously measuring the length of the inhale and the pause and the length of the exhale, and is there a pause? We talk about breath as inhale and exhale, but really there are four parts. There are inhales and exhales, and there are those spots between, those moments of switch in the anatomy of the breath. Taking a moment to assess what's happening in the natural breath there in this moment. And our first engagement, our first stepping in to guide the breath will be to make a full moon of the breath. So imagine a circle and imagine the breath drawing the line from the low point down from the 6 o'clock, if it were a clock face, up and around to the 12 o'clock on the inhale, and then making the exhale the same length as that inhale, and allowing for those pauses to come as they are. But you're breathing with an inhale that is the same length. You're controlling, you're coming in to engage with the natural breath to make the inhale the same length as the exhale. So if the exhale was a little longer, you're making the inhale a little longer. And if the exhale was shorter, you're making the exhale shorter. And if they were the same length, wonderful. And maybe if you've got them the same length, see if you can make them a little bigger. Make that full moon a little closer to the earth, expanding how long it takes from the inhale to the top of the inhale, and then down from the top of the inhale around to the exhale, drawing that circle in the mind with each breath. And there might even be a pause, and that pause might be in the natural pauses at the very top, and exhaling and pausing at the very bottom. You might add a little pause midway. There might be an inhale, a pause, and continue the inhale, pausing at the top and exhaling. And hey, let's just stop for a moment here, a little pit stop, and then continue the exhale down to completion. And this method of interrupting the breath, of pausing the breath, is a way to make the lung capacity a little more accessible, to gain access to lung space. And so if you do that a few times, you might find that circle can be a little bit even slower, a little fuller, as you fill in the full moon of your breath. And this might be plenty. You might feel like, oh, if this is work, then stop it. This shall not be work. If it feels like nourishment, then do a few more. But if it feels like any sort of strain or effort, return to the natural breath. Return to that breath you began with. The measure that you took in the before, to compare how this practice, how these few moments of breathing in the shape of the moon, the full moon, that roundness might have affected the breath. So taking a moment to find the natural breath, it might take a moment to establish what the breath is doing on its unattended own. And then to compare, to notice if anything's changed. And taking these next few moments to be with the body, to be with the whole body, expanding this awareness to the breath and to the physical home of the breath, the chest, the lungs, the abdomen, inviting that breath to fill into the hips, to fill into the pelvis. Noticing the relief of the exhale and really allowing these exhales, especially as the moon is growing on us. We need to be part of the release of that energy as it's mounting towards our Saturday light in the sky. So you might even extend the exhale. You might even make an exhale longer than the inhale to get more of that tension and tightness and tiredness out of the body, to welcome that fresh new breath. And notice what you notice. Notice again the neck and the jaw. If you feel ready to be more awake, you might wiggle a little bit the tongue in the mouth. You might move the jaw again, side to side, and all these little different directions. Find your favorite neck movement, and this time as you're moving the neck, if you're saying a slow motion no, think of some boundaries you might be setting. As the head turns again left to right, noticing, does it come differently now than at the beginning? How's it moving after all the other things? And what kind of boundaries, like no more chaos and no more wackiness. Some boundaries. You might know things that you're thinking about, being like, oh, I gotta make some changes. Good way to engage that through your body. And then the yes again, the forward and back, extension and flexion. Some of the things you're saying yes to, returning to those resources. What am I calling in? Yes to feeling good. Yes to days that are a little easier than they are harder. Yes to good sleep. And then acknowledging the mystery and the side to side. The ear comes down to the shoulder, to the left, to the right. I don't know. There's so much I don't know. So much unknown in the world. Allowing the neck to find whatever else it needs, any organic movements. Bringing the hands together and rubbing the palms to wake up. If you're choosing to be awake, you might choose to be in that restful breath space. And if you're waking up, bringing the hands together helps the nervous system awaken. You might offer that warmth to the eyes, offer that warmth, and then like washing the face, moving the hands off and away. Shake some of that energetic residue. Woo. Go washing the face. Touching the fingers to the thumb helps wake up the mind. This is something I'm offering for the sake of emerging from this practice, but you might do this at a time when you need it. When you're in a boring meeting, this helps wake you up. If you're yawning, wiggling the toes, wiggling the fingers, wired to the parts of our brain that keep us awake. So notice how you feel. Thank you for being here. Thank you for participating. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Please like the video and leave a comment about your experience. And while you're here, please subscribe to my channel and opt in for notifications to catch the next class I upload. And then head over to olgachwa.com to join in a live event or to work one-on-one with me. I'm here to help.